Sitting at the coffee house, indulging in rich addas at College Street, generations of young people have come and gone. Yet your memory sits there still, like a Renaissance portrait of an undiscovered continent. Years later, when I came back to Calcutta, which was by now Kolkata, I was a little sad at how the city had changed. The flyovers had forgotten the small tea shops where customary debate over politics, sports, and cinema would go on. Turns out no one likes a cup of tea at 6 in the evening anymore. I had been away for 40 years after all. I had not even come back once, but I had kept myself updated about the city. Turns out Google Maps cannot locate the small eatery near Valigan station where I was once stuck in the rain. The owner had offered me a hot cup of tea to soothe my drenched senses. Kolkata and its people, I tell you. I wonder if they're still the same. I had wished to take my granddaughter around the city, my city which had seen and captured so much of me. When I left Calcutta for good to settle in a small country house in New Jersey, the city kept a part of myself with it. The city always bids goodbye to its young people. They have a habit of leaving, always set to explore the world. That is why maybe the city is so nostalgic. So many half souls roaming around looking for their other halves in a forgotten city. When I left Kolkata, I had also left behind a letter and my love for a girl to whom I had promised I would come back. I never did. I always knew I wouldn't. A part of me thinks she knew it too. She loved the city way too much to leave her comfortable house in Igdalia Place. She was scared of starting afresh in a new place, like learning to read and write all over again. I don't know if she waited for me. To tell you the truth, I don't know if she still waits for me, but a tiny selfish bone in my body wants her to. When we were young, the city was young too. We walked over the Hooghly Bridge and felt the shuddering as cars passed by. We ate mouth-watering beef sticks in Ripon Street and we sat here at Coffee House along with our other friends while we discussed why Michael Madhusudhan Dutta could be compared to Dante and yet not come near Milton. Those conversations left us and soon we were numb. Love fades away and you are left with promises you don't intend to fulfill anymore. However, love is very tricky. It develops in the absence of the person and grows over one's sanity. Young love is weak and it is at old age that regrets overpower you. Nothing else matters except the things undone and things unsaid. I could never find that happiness, that feeling of content with Greta. She didn't challenge me to become a better person. She was a kind and beautiful woman, but I did not cry the day she died. My companion of 33 years died and I did not feel sad. It was on the day I put soil on her closed coffin ready to get buried that I realized I had to go back. The Kolkata weather had made my son and his daughter sick, so they couldn't go out. They stayed in the hotel rooms. I could not sit still. I don't know why, but one day roaming around the central part of the city, I felt a strong urge to look for her. I knew where she worked in a small publishing house in Park Street. I asked for her, but obviously she had retired a very long time ago. I looked for any friends in Calcutta who would know about her. All dead or were settled in other cities around the world. I even went as far as to go to her house in Igdalia Place to ask of her. The place was now rented to a non-Bengali family who had no idea of the previous tenants. Dejected while coming back to my hotel in Esplanade, I took a longer route to the coffee house. I would have to go back the next day. Sitting at the corner table in the first floor which overlooked the entire ground floor, I felt a little overwhelmed. Nostalgia overtook me and regrets filled my senses. At that point, a small tear came out of my eyes as I regretted not coming back to Calcutta when my parents died. I did not come back at my best friend's wedding who had stopped calling me after that day. I regretted not answering the hundreds of letters that she had written to me. I felt like a horrible person and felt like I would just turn into ashes. But at this point, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around to see a familiar face. She stood there proud in a neat sari with Gayatri Spivak in her hand as if she had come out from a portrait. She had raised her eyeglasses up over her head. I felt empty in 1 second and then all the emotions flushed in together. She smiled at me and asked, "Still at coffee house?"